Welcome back to Gear Check Games. This is part 1 of our Halo Combat Evolved, the updated version for the 360 playthrough. And
great title.
Are you guys hungry?
I don't know.
We're just lost in the void.
Had a Totino's pizza about an hour ago. I think I'm all good.
Wait, there's something.
I had something resembling food a little bit ago.
This game looks spooky.
Biscuits.
That will pay off later. Anyway, I'm joined by Joe, Dan, and
Trent. Hello.
He's back.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know what it is about sci-fi games featuring protagonists in armor suits, but he seems to have an affinity for them.
I do have a type, you could say that.
Tall, dark, and armored.
Now, Trey, just so this doesn't bog down the playthrough later on, shall we address the audio the viewers are hearing? If you've played Halo before, things might sound a little bit off to you.
I was going to say I can hear the crust in the music, but then I thought that might be disrespectful to the game.
There's something that happened, because I have this really knockoff brand, I believe China made. I don't want to put China under the bus, but it's definitely from them.
Well, everybody makes a crappy product every now and then.
I don't want to throw China under the bus, but it's definitely their fault.
It's definitely their fault.
As an entire country.
Yeah. It's probably
the poor sweatshop worker working on his wasn't doing well that day.
God.
Yeah.
What are
it was made in
AL
Foxcom's basement.
Oh man, that good old 360 UI.
So your capture card's kind of on the way out, and that's why the audio sounds a little pitch shifted down.
It's slightly pitch shifted, and then some of the audio will be just like it's stepping over itself, it didn't quite line up correctly.
So Sonic Adventure 2, but not the game's
I
fault.
love Sonic Adventure 2. I can't wait for this.
But before we get deep into the game, I focused on this menu screen because it's just pretty.
Yeah, that's a great title screen.
Yeah.
Is this more or less how it was in the original game? Because I know they redid the graphics for this.
Well,
yeah,
as I was saying, it pretty much was this, just a lot more low textured looking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Halo was not a game I grew up with because I never had an Xbox. In fact, I've never owned any Xbox consoles. But I remember playing the multiplayer of 2 a little bit at a friend's birthday in middle school, and just thinking the whole concept of the... Actually, did that game have a multiplayer map on the Halo? Because because I know the game the story takes place on Earth, but I just remember seeing the Halo bending up into the distance and thinking oh my god, what is this game?
There was a couple of maps on Halo 2 that were placed on the Halo ring itself. Notably, part of the campaign was also there as well.
Very cool to see.
I don't specifically remember the map you're referring to, so when you guys are talking about this, in my head I imagine it's just it's on the Halo, but I know the Halo is massive.
Ooh, you're getting a little frisky there, Trey, playing a heroic.
I know. Well,
I'm imagining the Halo being much smaller, and it's just a bunch of people running along this linear Halo, just running around the circle, shooting at each other.
Honestly, that would be an interesting map.
It's like a hamster wheel.
If we ever get a Halo MMO, that could definitely be a thing.
It's just hamster. It's just the hamster wheel.
Oh my god,
RB.
a Halo MMO where everybody coordinates to run along the Halo in the same direction to spin it,
to keep it spinning.
The iceberg on Club Penguin.
Yeah.
Trey, please tell me this isn't another game where you have to play on a certain difficulty to get the real ending.
Okay,
no, because he'd have to play on Legendary to do that.
Yeah.
It's we're not messing around this time.
And it's not... The Legendary ending actually isn't, quote-unquote, the true ending, so you will get the true ending on any difficulty. It's just, there's a bit of a extra kind of a gag reel, almost, at the end, if you complete it on the hardest difficulty.
So, since we just started the game, we finally got in, there's no more menu screen. This is our level 1. This is the Pillar of Autumn. And as Captain Keys just said, we just came out of a subspace jump from the planet Reach, which has an entire game about what happened at Reach.
There's a lot that happened there.
Yeah, that's like a prequel to this, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, like an immediate, like minutes before prequel.
But yes, they literally came out of this about, I think it was a few hours after the very last episode of Halo Reach.
Yeah.
So this is notably, A New Hope to Reach's Rogue One, then?
Yeah, actually, very apt comparison.
Yeah, this is Halo, but then later on they changed it to Halo Episode 4.
Notably, one thing that we kind of have talked over is he kind of remarks about how the Covenant are already there. They're already ready for them. This is kind of some world building. The Covenant are massively overpowered in space compared to the human race.
Yeah. On the ground, we're about even, but in space, they're quite a bit ahead of us tech-wise.
Yep.
That's one thing I like about the Halo universe. It's like it's like a little brother, big brother kind of thing. Like, they can still duke it out. One obviously has the upper hand, but the other one like has to think really outside the box to beat the other one. And that's of course like the humans, like
the humans.
Oh yeah, here's one of Halo's like greatest characters.
Oh yeah, I've heard tales of this man.
Yeah,
Private Johnson.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of those guys on the line.
Johnson from
He's the Johnny of this game.
I thought Johnson was an X-Naut.
Does
Anybody
he
remember
become a
that
general
throwaway
in the
gag?
next game?
Just me?
No,
Okay.
no, Sergeant stays a sergeant.
Oh, about to say he's been through some shit after this game.
He's been through some shit before the game. So in some of the
yeah.
novelizations,
He was part of the First Contact team, if I recall.
Yep. He was part of the First Contact team. He's also part of the First Contact team for the other antagonistic faction that we will meet later.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
He's like the Biggs and Wedge of this series. He just keeps showing up.
Yeah.
That's for all you Final Fantasy fans. Oh yeah, those dudes, because this
Final
is just
Fantasy.
a texture pack. This is just a texture pack. They're not actually typing on those buttons.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is like I was kind of having a hard time deciding whether this looked like the remastered graphics or the original.
Yeah.
This is the remaster.
So it turns out it's a little of both.
Kind of.
Yeah.
So notably, the Combat Evolved remaster didn't do a lot of remodeling, so most of the models in those meshes are standard. So most of what the effects that they've done are with textures and normal maps.
Okay, so it's kind of like a Wind Waker HD type of overhaul.
Yep.
So
Except
that.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I somehow skipped the tutorial there.
That happens whenever you select the level and don't start a new game.
Oh, okay. I was wondering why that happened.
Yeah. It just takes whatever settings you had currently. There is a little contextualized tutorial there where you will look up and down and you're calibrating your armored suit.
Yeah.
God, everything's exploding.
There's actually a lot of fun dialogue from the guys helping you calibrate your suit, but we skipped it.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But what I was
Are
going
there
to say...
any games anymore that do that, where it's like, part of the tutorial is, this is how you look up and down, and left and right. Now move forward and back. Or do they have more faith in gamers now?
No, there's still some contextualized tutorials.
Well, yeah, this was still very early into the life
He did
cycle
it.
of
The Mad Lad did it!
the original graphics
Yeah.
here, what we're looking at now. Okay.
So this is the original graphics.
Yeah, that's one of the greatest features of this remaster, which I haven't played, is the fact that you can change between the original graphics and like the new remastered graphics on the fly. Which to me is like that's kind of going above and beyond, but I do wish like when they do like remakes and remasters of games that they would include at least include the original version with the new version so that people don't just write it off.
Metroid Zero Mission.
Yeah, this has been the standard for a while, guys. Come on. Get with it.
So yeah, so here's the titular waifu of the Halo series, Cortana.
Wait.
She actually looks notably different in this game. Her design will change into Halo 2. That will be her more final design.
Yeah, for the
yeah, isn't she just like a little circle?
No.
I mean, technically, yes, she is just a hard
not
drive.
that Cortana, Dan. But we saw her earlier when we were looking at the new graphics, and like, did they redesign her for the?
Yep.
What is the
They-
sky
going into
have
Halo-
I like this cartoonish pipe.
Going into Halo 2, she is redesigned. They actually do use the redesign in the anniversary graphics for Combat Evolved.
Okay.
Unfortunately, so one of the issues that also gets changed into the anniversary version of Halo 2 is you can't change between graphics during cutscenes.
Yeah.
So that is one drawback.
Well, yeah, because didn't they
additionally-
like kind of reshoot it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in Halo 2, some of the cutscenes are actually pre-rendered footage rather than in-engine like they are in Halo 1.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So in the original version of Halo 2, all of the cutscenes were still also in-engine footage, but some of the remastered ones, to get some of the additional effects they wanted in there, they went with actual recorded video.
Mm-hmm.
Typically in the more dynamic cutscenes.
Yeah, and Halo 2 is the one that needed a graphical overhaul the most.
Yep.
So, like, I'm fine with it having, like, all new cutscenes. Because that game's kind of ugly.
Yeah, Halo 2 was right at the end of the original Xbox's lifetime.
Yeah.
So
Do you think they would have been better served saving that one for the 360, or?
It was supposed to be a 360 game.
Oh, jeez.
the original
Yeah.
plan actually was to have Halo 2 be all of Halo 2 and Halo 3, and be a launch title of the 360.
Oh.
Alright,
Oh,
so
yeah.
notably, one of the most iconic lines of the game had just been handed there. Keys handed
Yeah.
him a firearm, but he didn't put any. He doesn't keep it loaded.
Yeah. You
Just like
literally
Barney
have to
Fife.
reload it.
Yep. So those are the grunts. Very
Yeah.
fun characters.
They are literally the Goombas of this game. Like, they're not formidable by themselves, and you can literally peg them with one shot on their noggin and they're gone.
That's
they're
until. When did the suicide grunts come into?
I want to say Halo 3 did Suicide Grunts, and definitely Reach.
Yeah. So eventually, it's not here in the original two games, but one of the things that they decided to do to kind of make the grunts a bit more dynamic of a enemy is allow them to just kind of do their best to take the chief out.
Yeah.
Yeah, one.
So, like, they're...
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, they kind of have, like, very standard movements, like, sometimes move behind cover, or sometimes bunch up, but also, like you said, in harder difficulties, they get a bit more chaotic. Sometimes they'll overcharge their plasma pistols at you, which we'll see that strategy used later, of what that does. But sometimes they'll just grab two, plasma grenades, activate them in their hands, and walk at you.
Well, more of a frenzied waddling, but
Wow.
One thing I wanted to
Just straight up Half-Life
go back
1.
to while we're still in this opening section was the idea of like the really kind of gradual tutorial right at the beginning where you have to like look around.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think at the time this was released the idea of like dual analog control for first-person aiming was like ubiquitous yet.
this was actually one of the first well-done dual analog forays into it.
Yeah.
Up to this point, you'd have like GoldenEye. You had
We need two controllers to use dual analog aiming.
Medal of Honor and Call of Duty had started, but it was their very, like, beginning games. Oh god. I almost killed myself there.
No, I do believe that this came out before the first console Call of Duty.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Yeah, this was really the first game that kind of showed that first-person shooters can work on consoles, because they were popular on PC well before now, because a mouse and keyboard is just a lot more intuitive to use.
Yeah. Honestly, the Xbox was probably the first console with enough oomph to handle the very sensitive like combat that a first-person shooter can do,
Yeah,
or is capable of doing.
Now,
Yeah, because GoldenEye was a little finicky.
Yeah.
Well, as someone who doesn't play a lot of shooters, what exactly did Halo do that that wasn't being done by other games to kind of make it work on a console?
Oh, so, okay, I actually know a good bit about this. So, have you noticed how his crosshair will change from blue to red when he's aiming at someone?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a concept called aiming circles. So there's kind of an invisible circle around his crosshair. Whenever he's near enough to an enemy, it'll turn red. The aim actually kind of slows down there, and the crosshair will tend to drift a little bit towards the enemy. So this allows you to be a little bit more accurate with what is in and of... There's the biscuits.
So I sat here for like an hour because I was making biscuits, and finally they came out of the oven, so I got my food. Got my biscuits.
So that's why our playtime is so inflated.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you with biscuits.
I mean, it was a fair enough segue, because I was more or less done with the explanation of how the aiming worked.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the concept of one stick is for camera movements, one stick is for moving the character itself.
Yeah.
So...
I forget.
Plus, not to mention, Halo is also like the really big game to have like online multiplayer.
Yep.
And
LAN
like
parties,
that.
weren't LAN parties really big back when this came out?
Oh my god, yeah.
So Combat Evolved pioneered LAN parties really well because Combat Evolved actually didn't start with Xbox Live. Xbox Live wasn't until Halo 2.
Yeah.
But Halo 2 was one of the first online shooters for console. Ooh, you're getting a little,
obviously
little
like
cornered there,
PC
buddy.
had stuff like Quake and stuff like that, but like for console games.
Yeah. And so it was also,
like
the beginning of online subscription services for consoles.
Yeah.
For,
So
the less fortunate
unfortunately.
innovation.
So
I mean, they needed to fund the servers somehow, but...
Yeah.
So the gun I was using before this, we haven't talked about like the weapons
Just don't see
that
you.
we've been going through yet. The first two weapons we got was the pistol that Keys gave us, and then like your standard assault rifle. But then we were also using these laser weapons that the enemies are dropping.
So that was also another thing that Halo kind of pioneered is instead of the only way to heal be finding a health pack, you do have an amount of health that will always recharge if you just avoid taking damage for a certain amount of time. That's your shields.
Yeah.
And then as Trey was saying with the differences in weapons, so human weapons are standard projectiles that we know and love today. Whereas Covenant weapons are more plasma-based weapons. So every unit, Master Chief, the Marines, the Covenant, they all have two different types of health. Some more than others. A standard health, which takes more damage from human weapons and bullets, and shields, which take more damage from plasma weapons.
Okay.
Notably, the grunts don't have any shields, and that's why you can shoot them once in the head with a pistol and kill them.
Yeah.
That is typically
They're
the big benefit of the human weapons, is if you can land a headshot, you'll usually kill them pretty well.
Which, if you're using the noob combo against elites, which is the plasma pistol and the human pistol, you can two-shot every elite you meet.
Yep. Because
I like that the optimal gun combo in this game is two pistols.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it gets even better in Halo 2 when you can actually hold two pistols at one time.
Yeah. Which, in a year's time, we will probably play... Oh yeah, I got my first one. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, those blue grenades that the enemies drop are sticky grenades.
Yeah.
And every enemy freaks out when you stick them because they know what's coming.
Yep.
Sticky grenades were like my favorite part about this game.
Oh,
other than like
they
vehicle
are,
jacking.
They are the most satisfying thing ever. I am... if it hasn't been clear yet to the audience, I kind of grew up with Halo. Some of my earliest memories are of this game, and I have a large experience in both the single player and the multiplayer. The sticky grenades in multiplayer were one of the funnest things ever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm more in Joe's boat, where like I wasn't an Xbox boy growing up, but like I had a hand-me-down Xbox from my uncle, but it was pretty jank, and wouldn't play Halo.
Oh.
It could only play like a handful of games.
Oh,
and
weird.
then even then it kind of just died
Like
out
grabbed by
gradually.
the ghoulies
But I
and
played Halo.
Blinks.
All my friends played Halo, so like I'd play with them sometimes when I was like at their house. And I remember co-op multiplayer in the campaign, which was lots of plasma grenades, accidentally killing each other and ourselves, punching grunts in the face, even if it would be much more efficient to just shoot them. And
You don't say.
delving into legendary mode, which was a lot of fucking hiding behind stuff, taking pot shots and waiting for the shields to recharge. So I could take more pot shots.
That or waiting for your ally to respawn.
Yeah, dude, that's
That
one thing I'll
too,
give.
sending an ally in to do suicide missions to kill like 1 or 2 guys and then waiting for them to respawn. It was a big tactic for kids.
I've always appreciated that about the Halo series is that they take their difficulty mode seriously.
Yeah, Legendary is not a joke. It is pretty brutal. So
Sorry, I didn't mean to talk over you, damn. I got really excited.
That was about the end of it. Also, I was like, well, like you said, Halo was like pretty innovative for the. Oh, okay.
First,
Halo was pretty innovative for the time. Like there wasn't really anything like it at the time on consoles. So like when I played it, I was just like infatuated because it was just like a whole new experience.
Yeah.
And it was just so fun playing multiplayer with all the crazy stuff you could do with like melee attacks and vehicle jacking and sticky grenades and stuff. So usually, as with a lot of games that we played as kids, we never really played to win. We just kind of screwed around and beat each other up and like tried to road kill each other with like aircraft.
Just kind of enjoying the game for its own sake.
Yeah.
I do have a lot of fond memories of just playing custom games with my cousins. Just everyone going around with rocket launchers, and it's just really fun.
Halo 2 swords and shotguns, baby.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there was a pretty good reason that the Halo series in the original Xbox and the 360 era with Halo 3 was some of the most iconic gaming there was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you had a GameStop near you, I guarantee you've probably seen the Halo 3 poster.
Oh yeah. So I don't want to get too off topic, but there has been a goal of this level, and that's to get to an escape pod because we're constantly getting boarded by the enemy.
There's a goal in Halo.
Well, yeah.
Yep.
The enemy's boarding your ship, so you're trying to get to an escape pod. And that's the goal of this level. But this ship is literally miles long. It's one of those ships that was like built in space and not good inside atmospheres.
Mm-hmm. Also, one of those ships where the architect was just a total asshole and made it a maze.
Well, so a bit about the Halo design. This actually calls back to one of the cutscenes whenever Master Chief just met Keyes. Human ships are effectively built around massive railguns.
Yeah.
That is their only really effective weapon against Covenant ships. And the opening salvo from the Covenant ships actually disable the railgun. It doesn't really explain it here. It will explain it a little bit in Halo 2. But the Covenant's plan right now is actually not to destroy the ship because they're afraid of hitting the Halo ring. Notably, the Halo ring is like their holy land.
Yeah, and they lost it for years, so finding it again is kind of like miraculous for them.
Well, they had never found one before. This is like their gateway to heaven, almost.
Yeah, in their weird religion.
I mean, it's not a weird religion. I mean, if you grew up on a planet where these
weird Covenant, their religion,
these ancient artifacts of a far advanced race of the past, you'd probably grow up worshipping them too.
Oh, so you mean Earth?
Yeah, that's right.
That's spoilers for like Halo 4 and 5.
Yep. Actually, Halo
I
3.
thought you were talking about
Halo
like for
3
actual
is,
real life Earth,
When
like worshipping the pyramid, thinking that the pyramids were built by aliens.
I mean, that
they
is
weren't,
part
weren't
of the
they?
inspiration. So,
So, as your framing device, we're going to be crashing on the Halo for the first time.
that is a little overexposed there. That brightness is not supposed to be that bright.
Well, that may be my capture card too.
Yeah. Like, the Halo itself isn't actually a sun.
Yeah. It's just those Xbox One graphics, baby. Or Xbox original graphics.
Notably, this is kind of
Xbox
spoilery.
One. Wait, no, other Xbox One.
Microsoft
Yeah,
is
okay.
almost as bad at naming things as Nintendo is.
So one
Almost.
last relevant bit
That's
of
why they're such
information.
good friends recently.
One last little bit of relevant information and a slight spoiler for the story. The Halo rings actually have a very Earth-like atmosphere.
Yeah.
And with that, goodbye!
Bye, y'all.